My optimism wears heavy boots and is loud.
Self limiting thoughts are frenemies that sap you of vitality and confidence. Much like people who aren't in your corner, they will do untold damage if not spotted and deleted early on. They stop you from trying new things or progressing forward. They are an invitation for stagnancy.
Lazy doesn't exist. Lazy is a symptom of something else. It's usually a pervasive lack of self worth or a feeling of helplessness.
Martin Seligman coined the term learned helplessness. His studies demonstrate that when people face constant failures or challenges, they can begin to believe that they can no longer make any changes to improve the circumstances. Based on past experiences of loss or failure, and when faced with enough obstacles, sometimes people come to the conclusion that there's nothing that they can do to improve their situation. They decide to give up early on rather than put in the effort to change their situation. Seligman identifies three deficits that people who feel helpless have. First is the cognitive deficit. Second is the motivational deficit. And third is the emotional deficit. Cognitive deficit is the belief that you do not have control over your situation. Motivational deficit is the lack of attempt on the part of the individual to take the escape route and get out of the situation. Emotional deficit is the depressed state that a person reaches when they come to the conclusion that the negative situation cannot be turned around by them. This way of thinking is, of course, flawed. Based on where we put in our effort, more often than not, we can be better and we can make the situation around us better.
Choosing gratitude and appreciation over criticism and negativity leads to attracting more of the things you can appreciate and be grateful for.
Self-fulfilling prophecies are very real. If you believe that you're capable of more, you will find yourself fighting to find ways to reach your potential. If you feel this is all you are capable of, then the simple act of identifying this as your limit will put you off from putting in any more effort. I have seen this happen with people who have gone through failed relationships. Instead of learning from each failure and working on becoming a better partner, some people become more and more entrenched in behaviors that caused their breakups in the first place. They start wearing these limiting beliefs as badges of honor and adopt a take it or leave it approach. They become more and more rigid with passing time and stop working on self-improvement because it's easier to point your finger at others rather than work on yourself. At some point, we need to start taking responsibility for where we find ourselves and stop defining ourselves by our present circumstances. You need to draw up a vision of where you see yourself in the future. Once you have a clear idea of the goal, you need to identify the skills that you need to attain in order to reach that goal. This will require redefining how you see yourself and your past. And this is where learned optimism comes in.
The aim of positive psychology is to begin to catalyze a change in the focus of psychology from preoccupation only with repairing the worst things in life to also building positive qualities.
Many times, our perception creates our environment. When faced with the same situation, two people may react completely differently from each other and get different outcomes. What seems like a dead end to one person may become a way out for another person. But if we enter a situation with a chip on our shoulder or with the belief that everything is out of our control, we may never put in the effort to make the situation better. The belief that we can influence the outcome through our actions lies at the crux of learned optimism. Martin Seligman writes about learned optimism. The basis of optimism does not lie in positive phrases or images of victory, but in the way you think about causes. For Seligman, optimism is the quality of being able to see how you can get out of a difficult situation so that you can reach an imagined goal. Studies have shown that optimistic people have better coping mechanisms than pessimistic people. Optimistic people tackle the problem head on and seek practical ways out of a situation, while pessimistic people ignore, avoid, or withdraw from a situation. The solution focused approach of optimistic people, combined with their intrinsic motivation and task orientation, allows them to have higher persistence. If you are pessimistic, you can become optimistic by challenging the negative thoughts that pop up in your mind. You can cultivate the habit of thinking positively by stopping your negative thoughts and replacing them with positive thoughts, and telling yourself repeatedly that you can and will do better. Focus on strategies to get things done. Don't dwell on what you cannot achieve. Celebrate each small achievement that you make along the way. The cumulative impact of all these small achievements will be a better sense of self and greater confidence. There are 3 things that optimists don't do. They don't personalize their failures. They tell themselves that they will do better the next time. They don't catastrophize negative events. They focus more on positive events and know that good times are around the corner. They don't see negative situations as permanent. They see these events as fixable and changeable.
If you notice yourself feeling helpless or pessimistic, reframe your situation and tell yourself that you can get out of it. Look at this situation as a temporary problem and come up with ways to break the confines that hold you still. Failure is temporary, regret is forever.